Greetings, folks. Today is March 7th, 2019. My name is Tom Weeper, and this is my commentary. You know, when I started these things, I did them 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. But lately I've determined that I'm going to do them earlier because my computer and my internet connection works better early in the morning. So here I am. And I feel sorry for Candace Owens. I really do. Now, when I get curious about something, I can't stop. And I have been curious about her ever since her CPAC speech and my comment about that speech. And so I start going on the internet, finding out as much about her as I could. And it's so sad. Really, to say the things that she's saying about black people, she has to deny her heritage. I'm probably not the only one that thinks that. This is an article at theroot.com written by Monique Judge, and she said the title is Candace Owens thinks racism is over because she has never been a slave. Maybe she is a slave. I honestly believe that she has become a slave to the conservatives. Yep. That's the only way I can explain her attitude. You know, she complains. She criticizes Black Lives Matter. So what she's telling me, I mean, look at her. She's black. And if black lives don't matter, then her life doesn't matter. So she has to basically deny herself. And I don't understand that. Okay. So this is an article written by Monique Judge. And so you judge. She says, just when you thought the rhetoric spewed by conservative pundit and token Trump-loving black woman, and I think it's interesting, by the way, that she used the word token. All right. Token Trump-loving black woman Candace Owens couldn't get any worse. She had a veritable hold my beer moment during the Conservative Political Action Conference on Friday, when she said racism doesn't exist in America because she herself has never been a slave. No, this is not a joke. In the video shared by the Daily Beast, Owens spoke to the gathered crowd of conservatives who appear to be mostly white. First and foremost, stop telling us our own oppression. Stop selling us our own oppression. Stop taking away our self-confidence by telling us that we can't because of racism, because of slavery. I've never been a slave in this country, Owens said. Stop telling us that we need to be obsessing over our past when we should be obsessing over our future and the potential that we have. She continued to get applause from her white fans. Racism doesn't exist, huh? Racism is over? Would that be the same racism that Candace and her family filed a federal lawsuit against the Stanford Board of Education over in 2007, and for which she subsequently received $37,500 settlement. In February of 2007, Owens received 3 voice messages from a group of 5 teenage boys that included the son of the then mayor of Stamford, Connecticut, Daniel Malloy. While the role of Malloy's son in the messages is unclear, what is clear, Owens and her former friend Evan Kopeck got into a shouting match in class 2 days before the phone incident. Malloy, Kopeck, and others were present in the car when the 3 threatening voice messages were left for Owens, referencing her race and repeatedly using a racial epithet. In one of the messages, the caller called Owens dirty and threatened to burn her house down and tar and feather her. And you can read the rest of this. It goes on to say that Candace was stressed and couldn't go to school for a while. So apparently she has been a victim of racism. So how can she now say that America is not a racist country? I'm sorry. The only way that can happen is if somehow she's become a conservative slave. That's the only way I can think of. How can she say the things that she said about racism, being who she is and what she had went through? I'm sorry. I really feel sorry for this lady. To be a conservative, she has to force herself to be something she's not. Alright. Now, let's go on. There's another article that I want to bring to your attention. It is posted on the Tennessee Star, and it says Candace Owens commentary, Ilhan Omar and AOC are forging the anti-American party. Well, sweetheart, we've got an anti-American government. Alright? This was posted on February the 14th of 2019 by the administration. And the article itself is by Candace Owens. Let's go into it. The Democrat Party's new standard bearers are dropping any pretense of patriotism. Representatives Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have proudly positioned themselves as the leaders of the anti-American political faction that seeks its mandate not from American citizens but from foreigners. And Candace Owens, that's been going on for a long time, and you want to deny it, apparently. But we have a government that takes orders from Israel. Or don't you believe that Israel is a foreign country? I mean, come on. You ever hear of AIPAC? How can you say that these people, and they might be taking orders from foreign countries. I don't know. But we have a Congress that does take its orders from Israel. And I've talked about that before. Anyway. She said that, let's see, she quoted, "We are standing on native land, and Latino people are descendants of native people." and we cannot be told and criminalized simply for our identity or our status, period. Apparently, this was said by Ocasio-Cortez, telling her followers last week at a rally and to highlight her call to Congress to cut funding for U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. You know what, Ms. Owens? We should cut funding for immigration and customs enforcement. Why? Because our immigration laws are unconstitutional. But, Miss Owens, the Constitution means nothing to you because it means nothing to conservatives. I used to be a conservative, so I know what matters to conservatives. And when I was coming up, when I was calling myself a conservative, we believed in the Constitution. But conservatives have moved away from the Constitution. Anyway. Now, she said Ilhan Omar was also at hand. The freshman Democrat Congresswoman is no stranger to controversial and hateful comments, having recently equated the democratic Jewish state of Israel to the terror-supporting Islamist regime of Iran, repeatedly libeled a group of Catholic teenagers from Covington, Kentucky, and accused pro-Israel politicians of being bought off by Jewish activists. And although Omar apologized for her latest anti-Semitic Twitter tirade in the face of pressure from her party bosses, it was half-hearted at best. Now, let me tell you something. Candace Owens, you obviously don't know anything about Israel. How they came into being. What they continue to do. Israel is a terrorist state. There's a video on YouTube, and I can't remember. Why can't I remember this? But there's a video that shows Israel, and it's a documentary. I'll try to find it and share it with you later. But the fact is, Israel began terrorism, what we call modern terrorism. This video shows how they have bombed a hotel, killing Jews, Americans, and Islamic people. Now, Israel is basically the father of modern terrorism. I'm not saying terrorism hasn't gone on for a long time. It probably has. But Israel is a big part of it today. And there's also a YouTube video that shows, well, there was, they may have taken it down, that shows Benjamin Netanyahu visiting ISIS soldiers in a hospital, calling them Israeli. Okay. I mean, come on. You go learn the truth, ma'am. You go learn the truth about Israel. Omar is telling the truth. I mean, we can go to a place on, just Google it. Israel pays off congressmen. Go Google that. One of the biggest recipients of Israeli money is Chuck Schumer. Are you going to this is a liberal, isn't it? Chuck Schumer is a liberal, and yet he has came out to introduce a bill making it illegal to speak evil or speak bad of Israel. Hey, the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law about speech. But here comes Chuck Schumer saying we can't speak about Israel in a negative way. Now, how can he not be pro-Israel? He's being paid off, don't you see? We have a government, the best government that money can buy. And you know who bought it? It's Israel. So Candace, wake up! I can't understand why you... Well, I know, I do understand. You're young and stupid, like I was at your age. And I admit that I was young and stupid at your age. But I grew up. And I urge you to do the same thing. Omar is telling the truth. All right. Omar might hate Jews, but she loves illegal aliens. Instead of showing support for the angel families who have lost loved ones at the hands of the illegal aliens, Representative Omar offered teary-eyed poetic odes to the illegal immigrants who are actively trying to breach our borders. Okay, listen, Omar, Candace Owens, go read the Constitution. Go read the Constitution. These immigration laws are unconstitutional, damn it. I'm getting sick and tired of you conservatives talking about this. It is unconstitutional. What we're doing to these people is unconstitutional and ungodly. Obviously, you don't know anything about God, because God has instructed his people, Israel, it's in the Old Testament, to be loving toward the strangers in the land and the foreigners. Be loving. And that attitude carried over into the New Testament in the person of Jesus Christ, who taught love. Love God with everything you have, love your neighbors as yourself, and love your enemies. The position of Christ is one of love. That's what he taught more than anything else. We all need to be good Samaritans to these people, but we're not. And for you to sit there and condemn people who God created, who Jesus died for, is an ungodly act. So not only do you have to deny your black heritage, you are denying Christ. And yes, that makes me angry, because conservatives have become haters of God. And if you're going to support Donald Trump, my God, how can you? The man's evil. Anyway, let's see. I don't know. I'm probably, I'm over 15 minutes. But folks, when I see things like this, it hurts. Conservatives have enslaved this poor woman to deny her heritage, to promote things that really she should not be promoting if she understood the nature of being black in this country. And I'm not saying we should not be treating black people equal. We should. Because the Constitution, I've said before, the Constitution is a colorblind document. But the attitudes of Americans are not colorblind. And conservatives like Sean Hannity is one of the biggest racists I know. when it comes to police shooting black people, Sean Hannity is a racist. He and others are the reason I left conservatism. I woke up. They don't believe in the Constitution. They do not believe in God. And you have to, and you're supporting them. Even so, at that meeting, you mentioned believing in God and the Judeo-Christian ethic, which doesn't exist in the Scripture. Oh, man, I feel sorry for you. I really do. You say you've never been a slave. Well, you are now. And if you start telling the truth, conservatives are going to jettison you like a $2 bill. Anyway, okay, I'm not going to go a full half hour again, but I've looked her up. Hey, listen, I found out she's not married yet. She might be engaged, although, I don't know about that either. There's some hint of something going on between her and Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just, they work together. Maybe that's all there is. But she works for a conservative think tank. Now she gets paid. But let's face it, some slaves in the past got paid. Yeah, there were some good masters that paid their slaves. Gave them vacation time, and there were good masters at and sometimes. But folks, I want to tell you something. This makes me angry. To force this girl to deny her heritage and to be supportive of Donald Trump and to be a conservative, I don't. So there's something inside of me saying she's being forced. Maybe I'm wrong, but she has. If she's not being forced, she has enslaved herself to these damn conservatives. I'm sorry, folks. 23 minutes and 5 seconds and counting, and I'm just. It's a very important issue. The things that she is saying, these are so important because it has to do with the nature of the United States of America. Even when our nature is not that good, and we have to admit when our nature is not that good. All right. Thank you for listening.